Okay, welcome to the shoot. I've repositioned the video camera above me so you can see the full set here. Got the camera here, the fig here, and some of the lights. So you're going to be able to see what I'm doing. I'm going to put the photos up on screen as I take them, so you'll see the kind of change from shot to shot as I muck around with the lighting. So the camera here, I've got the Canon 70D. This is shooting with a 50mm lens. Now, this is really close. For a kind of portrait shot like this, even of a little fig like this, I'd probably want to use a lens like this, which is 18 to 135mm lens, and I'd just back off because this is going to make the face a little bit too narrow, whereas if I kind of move the camera back here and shot with this, it'd just make the head look a little bit more normal. But what I want to actually take advantage of is having a really shallow depth of field. Now, normally when I do toy photography, I don't want a shallow depth of field. But for this, I'm going to take advantage of this great 50mm lens, which goes down to f1.4 to get some really nice kind of halo effects around her head and things. I've actually got it as wide as it can go at f1.4 now. I've taken a few test shots with it. It's too wide, so I'm going to probably bump it up to about f2, maybe around then, but we'll see how we go. So I haven't got any lights on, I've just got a sort of softbox on behind me so you can kind of see my face. It's not really going to affect the shoot too much, so I'm not really worried about it. But what I'm going to start with is popping on our key light here. So this is the IKEA lamp that I talked about in the last video. Let me just reposition our little friend here. And it's a really great lamp because the way I've got it on the desk, it's kind of spring-loaded, so I can easily move it around. What I'm going to do is just immediately pop off a shot so you can see what this looks like. We'll change it up to, say, f2. Let's go there. So that's what it looks like kind of straight out of the box. Couple of things to note. Obviously, a lot of this shot is out of focus. That's because I'm shooting at such a wide aperture. We're going to correct that by taking multiple shots of the final lighting setup I arrive at, and then I'm going to do focus stacking in Photoshop to get all these shots combined. But the thing I want you to look at in this first shot is the way the light falls. So you can see what I was talking about in the last video, the light kind of concentrates around her forehead and probably on her nose as well because she's got a fairly wide nose, and then, you know, it falls off from there. And we want to kind of reduce that effect, so that's where the kind of beauty dish effect comes in. So the way I'm going to set this up, I'll just turn the key light off again. This lamp, hopefully that'll refocus, and then if I just twist this round, I'm going to go with the extremely lo-fi approach of simply sellotaping this mirror across the lamp. Not really a permanent solution, but it'll do for our purposes here. So I've just got this mirror just dead center. Get it about there, and just tape it on the lap. I think I'm going to need one across the other way. So we'll go across like that, and then that mirror's dead center. It's kind of blocking out the middle of the light. So it's going to give more of this kind of beauty dish effect. I think longer term what I want to do is actually get a bigger mirror, and then I'm going to drill in the sides of this and kind of mount it so it's in there with something a bit better than sellotape. But obviously, if I need to change the bulb, I don't want that on there permanently because the bulb's going to come out of the dish. But it's an LED bulb, so it's going to last a long time, so who knows. All right, let's get this repositioned and take another shot. Now, because we're working with such a small figure, I'm not going to have the light in exactly the same place as it was before. but hopefully we should get a slightly different effect from before. So if you compare that shot now with the previous one, I think you can see the light is a little bit less harsh across the centre of her face, which is what we were going for. So that's our key light. Now, before we do anything else, what I want to do is play around with the positioning of this key light for one reason and one reason only. It's to do with the catch lights in her eye. So if you look at the last photo I took, the problem with toys obviously is the eyes are fake. And if I lit her from above, say up here, the problem is I only get a catch light in one eye because the eyeballs on this figure aren't, completely round like not round, but they're not the same shape as a normal eyeball. So where a normal eyeball would pick up a lot more light and you'd get the catch lights in the eye, with this you can see the right light. I'll just take another picture so you can see it straight above. So you can see the right eye, sorry, her left eye, or right in the shot, has got no catch light. Effectively, she looks dead. It's a giveaway that it's a toy. So the only thing that's going to govern where I put this light is where I can get some nice catch lights in her eyes, across both her eyes, because they are what kind of bring life to something, which is really important when you're taking photos of toys. So then I just need to angle this so it takes advantage of that kind of beauty dish setup. And we'll take another shot. Yeah, I think we'll work with that. Maybe I'll just tilt it up a little. Yeah, okay. So now we've done that, I want to talk about a fill light. So obviously all the light's coming from one side. It's still kind of a bit directional, the light, and we've got all these shadows on the left here. So all I'm going to do for a fill light is use this, which is just a sheet of photographic paper. I'd normally put this in a printer and get a photo on it. Just a nice white reflective material. Now, if I pop this in underneath her and just fire off another one, you can now see the other side of her face is kind of brought up and illuminated. So you can do this, and you want to get it quite close. Obviously you want to get it so it doesn't cross the lens, but you can play around with this and see what it does in terms of creating a fill. So all the areas that are in shadow with just a key light on now have some illumination to them, and you really want to kind of bring some light up underneath it with this. What I can do is actually hold it kind of all the way under her like that. We'll fire off another one, and that's creating a nice fill. So that's two parts of a three-part lighting setup. We've got our key, the kind of DIY beauty dish here, and then just this card as a fill light. So now what I want to add is a hair light. Now, as you've seen in the shots already, I've already got this little telescopic lamp here set up in the background with a blue gel over it. And what's happening is there's some light reflecting off the key light behind that, and that's giving some of that blue glow. Now, I'm going to turn that on in a minute, but effectively, that's giving us a bit of background lighting. But I've got another one of these telescopic lamps, which I'm going to turn on here, and I'll just fire off another shot. And you can see what that's doing. So that's giving this kind of orange hair light. Now the colour temperature of these little telescopic lamps is very, very warm, very, very orange. But I'm okay with that because I want to kind of get a kind of reddish, orangey feel to accentuate the fact she's got red hair. I dropped the fill card out. We'll bring that back in a minute. But the other thing you can see from that shot is I'm also getting some flare. So because that light's effectively firing now straight into the lens, it's flaring out the top. So what I could do is I could cut that out. It's just simply a case of finding a place where you can flag out that light so it doesn't spill into the shot. But I'm actually going to keep it because I like that flaring effect. I want to keep it in this shot. And yeah, we're going to work with it from there. So let's get our fill card back in. So we've got the hair light, the key light, and our fill card here. We'll take another shot. And that's starting to come together. So the last thing I'm going to do is pop on this blue light, which is exactly the same kind of light. It's just got a blue gel over it. Now, I'm going to need to reposition that slightly. So that's going to kind of give us some background light. The key thing with it being blue is it's kind of the opposite colour to the orange. So it's a complementary colour, it's going to look really great. Put our fill card back in, fire for another one. And there we go. That's kind of the final look I'm going for. So, key light, fill light, hair light, and kind of a blue backgroundy light as well. And that's what gives you this shot. Now, because I'm shooting at f2, as I said, all these shots are kind of out of focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to use the touch screen on the camera here to go across her face and get all the different parts of her face in focus, so that I can do a focus stack. And it's going to what that's going to mean is her entire face is in focus, but that kind of glow effect I've got around her hair and some of the rest of it, we'll be able to keep that, and it's going to have a really kind of ethereal look to it. So normally you'd want to do this with your lens on manual and just gradually nudge the lens to get, all through the kind of depth of field of where you want to focus. But I think I'm going to be able to get away with just carefully touching this and getting a few spots in focus. So at this point, what I do when I do a focus stack, once I've got my lighting set up and I'm happy with it, is I actually just block the lens and take a shot. Probably white isn't the best thing to do. Let's get some black in there. Now, if I do something like that and just take a shot of a lens cap, when I get all these photos in Lightroom, Photoshop or whatever, I know that's kind of a break, and then the next shot's going to be where I want to do a focus stack from. So that's just a little trick to help you with organising your files, because what you don't want to do is start a focus stack and include a file that's, kind of a test shot while you're setting up your lighting. So now I'm ready to go. I'm just going to hold that fill card there. Obviously I might move this a little. It doesn't really matter. It's not going to make that much of a difference. So I'm just going to take some shots carefully. This most important thing is to get both the eyes. So I might take a few shots around her eyes just to ensure I get those in focus. Nose as well, because it's going to look really weird if she's got eyes in focus and her nose out of focus. Mouth as well, obviously we want that in focus. Now, obviously we're working at very small spaces and small dimensions here. So things like the light from the flare, how much her kind of hair halos, is going to change from shot to shot. So one thing you can do is, once you've kind of finished your focus stacking in Photoshop, which I'll show you when we move all this to the computer, is kind of do the focus stack, but then pick one shot that's got the blurring, if you like, you want around the head, the bokeh, etc., and just mask that in over the top of the rest of the shot. So I'll show you that in the next video when we get to it. But at this point, I think I've got everything I need. So I think I've got all the shots to get a nice in-focus picture of her face. So that's it for this one. So in the next one, we'll move all these into the computer, start doing some editing, and bring this photo together.